Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be reading from an actual diary that was found buried in the woods. This is absolutely terrifying, and it's probably one of the most creepiest things I've ever read. I was hiking with a friend in a heavily wooded area. We were taking pictures for a school project. Neither of us had ever been to this part of the woods before, and we did, and know the area well. We started to walk back to our car. We began to get lost. After about 45 minutes, we came across what looked like a recently dug hole in the ground. Mark has gone too far this time. He broke into my house last night and stole my phone. I immediately recognized the handwriting as my friend's. She acted shocked and said, "What diary?" I pressed her, but she stuck to her story. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe it really was just a coincidence. Had she written this after I took the diary? Why would she take it and not give it back? Around 3 a.m., I heard a loud crash. My parents and I all looked at each other, confused. Then we heard another noise. Whatever it was, it sounded like it was coming from outside my window. This time, I didn't bother to check. I just screamed at the person to leave me alone. I went outside to investigate. It was a blue notebook. I knew instantly what it was. I picked it up and flipped it open. It was my diary. It had been missing for a week. How did it get here? After a while, the knocking stopped. I opened the window to let in some fresh air. When I did, I noticed something in my backyard. My friend wrote about how she had followed me around, watched me sleep, and even entered my house while I was sleeping over at my friend's house. One of the entries said, "It's so easy to sneak into Sarah's house. Her window is unlocked every night. I'm afraid that my stalker is waiting for me there. I don't want to live my life like this forever. I wish I had never found that diary. So maybe if I could just forget about what happened, then my nightmares would stop. But I can't seem to shake this feeling that I'm being watched. I'm so scared. Help me." That explained why the guy had been able to enter my house. Let me know what you think happened in the comments down below. Did the author's nightmare come true? I'm the host. And if you like scary stories, then stay tuned, because I'll be uploading scary stories every week. Yes! Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, and I swear I hear my name being whispered. I always wake up shaking and confused. I try to convince myself that it was all just a bad dream, but sometimes when I'm home alone, I hear footsteps in my house. Sometimes I even see a shadow out of the corner of my eye. But when I turn around, there's no one there. But who was he? Was he my friend's boyfriend? So, why hadn't I recognized him? Someone had made a small pile of rocks in front of my window, almost like a cairn. Now she waited for me to run and hide in my closet. I kept waiting for someone to break in my window, but no one did. In the morning, I told my parents that I wanted to move in with them permanently. She would break in tonight and finally put an end to this. It was identical to the one in the picture from my friend's phone. I immediately called the police. My dad got out of bed and grabbed a baseball bat. They all went to my window and peeked outside. On the ground below my window was a rock. It was written in my friend's handwriting and read, "Sarah finally realizes that I've been watching her this whole time. She looks scared now. I can't wait to make her fear me. Sarah is my name." I felt sick to my stomach. Had my friend been stalking me this whole time? Why? It was the same size and shape as the rock that was in the picture my friend had taken. The rock monolith. Did she write those other entries too? Is this all some sick joke? I wanted answers. They too thought that it was probably just a coincidence. That same evening, I heard another knock on my window. Again, it was the same man. I called the police, but they didn't do anything. Apparently, it wasn't a crime unless he had actually entered the property. I was furious. Why didn't he just leave me alone? At first we thought nothing of it, but then we saw something sticking out of the dirt. It was a small, worn, leather-bound book. I felt a little uneasy, but I took the book home anyways. I live in a rural area, and we don't get many visitors. Cautiously approached the window and peeked outside. There was a man standing on my lawn with a flashlight. I quickly shut the blinds and locked the window. Who was this person? What did he want? When the police arrived, I pointed out the rock and explained everything that had happened. They searched my property and even questioned my neighbors, but they couldn't find whoever was responsible. The author chose to remain anonymous, and so did the people they referenced in their stories. So I'll be referring to the characters as the author, the friend, and the stalker. He broke into my house last night and stole my phone. My blood ran cold. I thought maybe I should have left the diary in the woods. I tried to convince myself that this was just a crazy coincidence, and that I would never see or hear from these people again, but I couldn't help but feel uneasy. This story comes from the author. I found this diary about 2 months ago. As soon as I got home, I began to read the diary. Some of the entries seemed normal enough. It appeared to be a teenage girl's diary. There were entries about school, friends and family. Then there were some more disturbing entries about her friend's ex-boyfriend. He had recently broken up with her friend and was acting very strangely afterwards. He would drive by her house at all hours of the night. Sometimes he would just sit in his car across the street staring at the house. Other times he would walk past her house and ring the doorbell and then run away. One day I was reading this entry and it said, "I think Mark has taken things too far this time." The next day I went back to the woods with my friends to try to find the hole again. We searched for hours, but we couldn't find it anywhere. I thought maybe I had imagined the whole thing, but then I remembered that my friend had taken a picture of the hole. Relieved, I headed home. A few days later, I was reading through the diary again when I came across this entry. Later that week, I asked my friend if she had seen the diary. Fast forward a couple weeks, I was getting ready for bed when I heard a knock on my window. The next morning, I told my parents about the incident. That night, my parents let me stay in their room instead of my own. My dad called the police again, and this time they agreed to come. 2 days later, I was in my room drawing when I heard another knock on my window. While I was on the phone, I noticed a small object near the rock monolith. Then I saw the entry that had been added since I'd last read it. The rest of the entries were terrifying. In the final entry, my friend wrote about how she had finally snapped and revealed herself to me. That night, my parents let me stay in their room again, but I barely slept a wink. Every creak of the house made me jump. Years have passed since then, but I still can't sleep in my own bed. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm terrified to go home. That is one scary story.